Our last honorary degree is to our speaker here this morning, the honorary degree of social justice to Tori McClure. Would Tori please come forward as we read the citation? Would our board chair, Philip DeVoris, join me in helping to award this honorary degree? Tori McClure is a master of the art of the journey, whether that journey is rowing alone across the Atlantic, skiing across a continent, scaling a formidable peak, or plumbing the depths of the human soul. For Tori, the journey, however arduous, is always about transformation. If the world sees in her first in history feats an amazing adventurer, they are certainly right. But if that is all they see, they're missing the more important truth, because Tori is, above all else, a voice that is always in transition, crossing divides and finding common ground. Her feats of exploration and adventure include the first American and first woman to ski the 750 miles across Antarctica from the ice shelf to the geographic South Pole, the first woman and first American to conquer the summit of Antarctica's snow-cloud Lewis Nunatak Mountain, and the first woman and first American to row solo across the Atlantic Ocean, an 81-day journey aboard a 23-foot boat called the American Pearl that brought her over 3,300 miles and through one hurricane. In 2009, Tori wrote a book about her adventure called A Pearl in the Storm, and it's since been adapted to the stage as a play called Row. As impressive as her journeys of physical courage are, they are at least equaled by Tori's professional journeys in education and in service. Part of her journey has been about education. At 15, she left Uniontown, Pennsylvania, journeyed to Kentucky, moved in with her grandmother in order to attend a prestigious college prep school. She got her BA from Smith College, her master's in divinity from Harvard, her law degree from Louisville, and her master's in fine arts and writing from Spalding. A truly remarkable list of educational summits. And part of her journey has been about service in the best mercy tradition. Tori served as the chaplain at the Boston City Hospital. She works these days to revitalize distressed neighborhoods in the Louisville Empowerment Zone. Her passion for service dates back to her role as a protector and then advocate for her special needs brother Lamar, perhaps one of her greatest teachers. Tori's commitment to the less fortunate helped Spalding earn a unique honor, the very first college to be designated a compassionate university, an honor bestowed by the Compassionate Action Network. You know, I think there's a real convergence between Tori's physical journeys and her educational and service journeys. Her athletic feats were always about more than adventure for adventurer's sake. That was made clear in her Harvard master's thesis called The Theology of Adventure. The physical, mental, and spiritual challenges were all part of the journey to discover and develop her voice. And while her physical journeys were hyper-intense experiences, her mental, spiritual journeys were more extended acts of incredible discipline. And all of those journeys utilize a similar set of tools, and they share a common purpose. Her primary tools are simple enough: endurance, faith in self, curiosity about the world. The common purpose behind all these journeys: self-discovery and insights into our human condition. To a seeker, an adventurer like Tori, it doesn't matter if the illumination comes from a flash of lightning across her bow in mid-Atlantic. It doesn't matter if the intuition comes as her voice echoes alone off a mountaintop. And it doesn't matter if the insight comes from scholarly explorations of the nature of God, the rule of law, or the power of art, all subjects that Tori has written about. For Tori McClure, to be human is to be on the journey, learning all the way. And through her book, we learn something profound about Tori McClure. She doesn't want to make that journey alone. She uses her voice to inspire other voices. And in sharing her great adventures with us in the book, she calls us in a real way to follow her. Not in a small boat on an empty ocean, or on skis atop an ice pack, but on the journeys that our hearts and souls desire, on the path to the discovery of our own voices, so that we too can experience that life lived to the fullest. Victoria Merton McClure, for your heroic modeling of the art of the journey, for the courageous voice you so exemplify, for the hope you inspire in each of us, and for your compassionate mercy embrace of your brothers and sisters, Mount Aloysius College proudly confers upon you this 7th day of May, 2016, the degree Doctor of Social Justice, honoris causa. Congratulations.
So philosophers like to ask, if a tree falls in the forest and there is no one there to hear it, did it make a sound? The corollary for ocean rowers is if a woman alone in the middle of the ocean in a rowboat throws a screaming hissy fit and there's no one there to hear it, no one there to hear her voice, did she have a voice? What are you guys looking at me for? I'm not going to give you the answer. With this commencement address, I will try to do 3 things. I will touch on your theme for the year, which is voice. I will tell a story or 2, and then I will end with the top 10 things I think I know. First, I must congratulate you. Voice is a grand theme. Voices can be light as a feather, yet they can carry the weight of the world. Voices crackle, sizzle, and pop. Voices may be as fuzzy as a box of kittens or as sharp as broken glass. Voices have the power to sour milk, to sugarcoat suffering, and to spice up laundry. We can etch voices into marble, chalk them on sidewalks, or write them down on napkins. Graduates, what do you have to say for yourselves? Ooh, sorry. You missed the cue. This was your moment to go, woohoo, yahoo, whatever. It's your time. So graduates, what do you have to say for yourselves? Not bad for beginners. There are many definitions of voice. Number 1, sound produced by vocal cords. Number 2, a manner of speaking associated with an individual. Number 3, the right of a person to share in decision-making or to express an opinion about issues of the day. The first definition is the least interesting. Sound produced by vocal cords. Yesterday morning, I was with Diane Rehm, the talk show host from National Public Radio. She's in Louisville, Kentucky, my home, Kentucky Derby. Everyone else is in Louisville. I was happy to leave. I asked her if she had any advice for the graduates of Mount Aloysius College. On the subject of voice, she said, the sound of your voice is not important. Hers is pretty gravelly. It is what you can create with your voice, what you can accomplish with your voice that matters. Our very first voices are the cries of infancy. These cries are interminable variations on, I am hungry, I am thirsty, I need to be changed. After infancy, the voice of childhood is all about defining and redefining the words I, me, and mine. Some people never outgrow their focus on defining and redefining the words I, me, and mine. I am here to tell you that such people are tedious. Do not marry them or become entangled with such people. Do not even bother to have lunch with such people. Instead, carry the lessons of Mount Aloysius and the Sisters of Mercy. Spend time with people who do not take jobs they do not enjoy, to purchase things they do not need, to impress people they do not like. This is a form of insanity. It is a form of insanity that is all too common in our culture of conspicuous consumption. The Sisters of Mercy measure success not by what one takes from life, but by what one can give to life. In the end, you must make a living. Your parents and guardians are counting on this. But be sure to make a life as well. It is more important to be a person with meaning than it is to be a person of means. What you have in life is not nearly as important as who you have in your lives. This brings me to the second and more interesting definition of voice. Voice, a manner of speaking associated with one individual. This definition is where voices begin to count. I was flattered when President Foley described me as a voice always in transition. I relish the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, who wrote, "Speak what you think today in hard words, and tomorrow speak what tomorrow thinks in hard words again, though it contradict everything you said today." Avoid individuals who are know-it-alls. I am here to tell you that such people are tedious. Do not marry them. Do not become entangled with such people. Do not even bother to have lunch with such people. Instead, spend your time with learn-it-alls. People who are always learning, are ever-changing, and their voices are always in transition. Now, they sit over there, and they sit over there, and they may not have learned to dress themselves. So just be careful about that one little thing. I cannot abide people who are always saying the same things over and over and over. You all know at least one of these people. They only care about one thing, and they tell you about that one thing over and over and over. I am here to tell you that such people are tedious. Do not marry them. Do not become entangled with such people. Do not even bother to have lunch with such people. My advice, to the graduates especially, you must care about and be willing to use your voices to discuss a minimum of 3 things. The 3 things about which you care tomorrow may not match the 3 things about which you care today. Fear not. Ralph Waldo Emerson also wrote, "A foolish consistency is the hobgoblin of little minds, adored by little statesmen, philosophers, and divines." The 3 things about which I care today are 1, compassion, 2, justice, and 3, fun. I will end my remarks this morning with fun. Hilaire Belloc wrote, "Nothing is worth the wear of winning but laughter and the love of friends." Do not underestimate the boldness, genius, and magic to be found in fun. Now, a word about one of my other things about which I care, which is compassion. I am a great sinner. I pause to allow you to imagine my sin. You got it wrong. The sins I wish to discuss today are about competition. It should not surprise anyone here that I like to win, and I usually do. However, many years of experience have taught me that I am not at my best when I act in a spirit of competition. I am at my best when I act in a spirit of compassion. The word passion comes to us from the Latin pati, which means suffering. What you are passionate about, you are willing to suffer for. The prefix com means with. Compassion is the willingness to suffer with another. If I'm in a competitive relationship with someone, it doesn't help me to figure out how we're the same. It only helps me to figure out how we're different, so I can exploit those differences and grind you into dust. If I'm in a compassionate relationship with someone, it doesn't help me to figure out how we're different. It only helps me to figure out how we're the same, so I can reach across our common ground and support you. Only on this common ground can we reconcile our differences and our diversity and move forward toward the hallowed ground of peace and justice. The third and final definition of voice is voice, the right of a person to share in decision-making or to express an opinion about important issues of the day. Graduates, we need you. The world cries out for educated voices. There are too many ignorant people talking about the issues of the day. But I have a warning for you. Whenever I'm absolutely sure I know the way to go, and I'm absolutely sure that the world should just shut up and follow me, I think of something that happened in Antarctica. Ooh, wrong glasses. You don't go anywhere in the Antarctic without your glacier glasses on, because you can go snowblind. It's a bummer. There were 8 different days in Antarctica when snow came down on the surface of the snow, and we were in a whiteout. In a whiteout, up is white, down is white, left is white, right is white, and you literally can't see the ground in front of you. How you navigate in a whiteout is you send the youngest, I was young then, member of the expedition team out off into the mist. If you can see that person standing on the ground, you can see the ground, it's all good for you. If you're the person out off in the mist, you look like you've been drinking things we don't talk about to college students. How you navigate is you take your compass. It's a standard mountaineering compass. It has a sighting mirror. It's also known as an idiot's compass because the compass shows you who is lost. You can take your compass and you look for any landmark due south. So one day I was really happy. I had a perfect landmark, 180 degrees due south. Skied right for it, skied right for it, skied right for it. Colonel Ron Milnarek was my second that day. It was his job to correct any deviations in my course. He said, "Tori, you're veering right." No, I'm not. I was young and perfect. I checked my compass. No, my landmark was due south. Skied right for it, skied right for it, skied right for it. "Tori, you're veering right." No, I'm not. I was a graduate of the National Outdoor Leadership School. I knew how to use a compass by Harry God. I checked again. No, my landmark was due south. Skied right for it, skied right for it, skied right for it. "Tori, you're veering right." That's it. He's a dead man. I'm going to have to kill him. I turned to give Colonel Ron Milnarek of the United States Air Force my very best Murden death stare. And when I did that, I realized my landmark off in the mist was a spot of frost on my glasses. Václav Havel once said, "Keep the company and seek the company of those who are seeking after truth and run away from those who are sure that they have found it." No one of us is perfect. I have often bragged, the best thing about my faults is the joy that my faults bring to others. President Foley knows this to be true. Presidents understand this. Our faults bring great joy to others. Each person is a blend of dust and divinity. Each is mortal, each heroic, and we must struggle to close the gap between the promise of humanity and the performance of human beings. I firmly believe that if we practice compassion, human beings are capable of traversing the distance between possibility and fact, but we must, absolutely must, keep our glasses clean. I spoke of compassion, and I will speak of fun very soon. In the middle, I had planned to talk about justice, but last night I had dinner with some folks who thought I should talk about rowboats, so I'm going to talk about rowboats. All commencement speakers walk around with rowboats. It took me 2 tries to row a boat alone across the Atlantic Ocean. The first try, I left from North Carolina, bound for France. I rowed 3,000 miles. 8 days out, I lost communications. My satellite telephone got wet. Salt water and expensive technology don't go together. So I went for 78 days with no contact with anyone on land, so they couldn't say, "Tori, look out, a hurricane is coming." The morning Hurricane Danielle arrived was September the 5th. The boat capsized 5 or 6 times. You're thinking, she's so well educated. Does she not know the difference between 5 and 6? When you're inside this cabin bouncing around like a ping pong ball, you just see the ceiling going by. You don't get to count how many times it went by. So after the 5th or 6th episode, I thought, I'm getting out of this cabin, out of my watertight hatch, gonna tie into my safety tether to crawl across the deck to get the emergency position indicating radio beacon, better known as an EPIRB. You turn it on, it says, "Help!" You don't turn it on, it doesn't say anything. In the time it took me to get out there, waves were washing over the boat. It was doing this really annoying submarine thing. When the boat goes so far under the surface of the water that your ears pop, it is a bad sign. I went back into the cabin, tied the distress beacon to my life vest, went through 5 or 6 more capsizes that day with the distress beacon tied to my life vest, not setting it off with my other hand. This is the hardest thing I have ever done. If you go on to the ocean in a rowboat, alone, and you get into a hurricane, you cannot ask another human being to come out and get you out of the trouble you put yourself in. That is justice. Or at least that is justice today. So I made it through that storm. The next day, I spent the day bailing the water out of my boat. I left out a really important detail. 2 of my capsizes were end-over-end pitch poles. One capsize dislocated my shoulder. The next capsize put it back into place. This is my definition of a bad day. If you combine this with the fact that I skied to the South Pole, you will understand why, as president of Spalding University, I do not decide whether our students get a snow day. I make our provost decide whether our students get a snow day. But I bailed the water out of the boat, got it floating again. That night, a hurricane named Earl passed well north of my position, triggered a number of rogue waves, capsized 4 more times. I thought, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to get out of this boat. I set off my distress beacon. I was picked up by a container ship named the Independent Spirit. You can't make that stuff up. I returned home to Louisville, Kentucky, the home of all great ocean rowers. There's no ocean near Kentucky. And I took a job working for Muhammad Ali, the boxer. And it was Muhammad Ali who said, "Tori, you do not want to go through life as the woman who almost rowed across the ocean." So I went back. But the second time I went the easy way. I left the coast of Africa and I rowed to the Caribbean. If you leave the coast of Africa in a barrel, you will get to the Caribbean. If you row that barrel, it will get there ever so much faster. And I successfully landed on the island of Guadeloupe, stepped out of the boat, into the arms of a man named McClure, and I married him about a month later. So there now, I've talked about rowboats. Happy? So, one of the greatest tests in life is to make the most of our gifts. And for those of us who believe the source of those gifts is some higher power, how we use our gifts is an act of faith. We all face obstacles, each and every one of us. We all have mountains to climb and oceans to traverse. We all tangle with storms. We all face waves. We take on the challenges before us one step at a time, one stroke at a time. Mount Aloysius College has prepared you well. Where preparation meets opportunity, success is born. In the tradition of the Sisters of Mercy, I know you will integrate critical intelligence with moral action. You will link the life of the mind with a real-world struggle for justice and human dignity. Now, you do not need to earn an academic degree to see the pain on our streets, but I firmly believe that educated people are better equipped to alleviate that pain. As scholars, you are creative individuals. You possess a clarity of mind and an energy of will. I have no doubt you will meet the challenge of the coming years. I hope that this faculty has prepared you well for your next adventures. You have warmed yourselves by the fires of those who raised you. Here at Mount Aloysius College, you gathered the tinder of knowledge. The time has come for you to go out and set your own fires. I mean that metaphorically. I like to end commencement addresses with a few platitudes, one or two of which you might actually remember. Socrates said, "All I know is that I know nothing. I do not know anything for sure, but I will outline 10 things that I think I know." Number 1, do not use your voice in a way that makes others feel small. If making others feel small becomes a habit, it will make you smaller. Number 2, silence is golden. And if silence should fail you, duct tape is silver. Number 3, if the carrot is big enough, you can use it as a stick. Number 4, roadblocks only block the road. They do not block the grass, the path, the water, or the way less traveled. Roadblocks only block the road. Number 4, it is never too late to have a happy childhood. I've had several, and I have many more planned. Or the corollary, I may grow old, but I will never be old enough to know better. Number 6, learn from the mistakes of others. You cannot live long enough to make them all yourselves. Or the corollary, it is difficult to become old and wise if you are not first dumb and stupid, young and stupid. Not dumb and stupid, young and stupid. Now, there are gradations of stupid. Stupid level 1 gets you hurt. Stupid level 2 gets someone else hurt. Stupid level 3 involves police and lawyers, and you might never own your own home. My advice to you is avoid all stupid that begins with the phrase, "Hey, hold my beer, watch this." Number 7 is not original to me. It was William Shedd who said it. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. Number 8 is one of my personal favorites. If you have to keep something that you are doing a secret, then perhaps you should not be doing it. Number 9, one that is important for college and university presidents. Don't take yourself too seriously. No one else does. Number 10, do not believe everything you think. Or as Socrates said, all I know is that I know nothing. I have every confidence that when you leave Mount Aloysius College, you will go out, you will teach, heal, feed, and build. You will inform, advocate, comfort, and guide. You will criticize, organize, contribute, and in 1,000 other ways serve people and causes. When this commencement service ends, let your service to the world begin anew. Go out and make Aloysius College, its faculty, staff, trustees, and President Foley proud. Make your friends and families proud. And for this, I thank you.